And at that point, we're live here with the Gravvicon Order. Welcome everybody to Lark Go. Yeah, I like that. I was told that for analytics reasons, we should really consider making abbreviations of our shows because Gravvicon is going to be impossible for people to type in anywhere. But Lark Go, those are two English words. Those are words people can use.
It's like a big
I wasn't ready for the abbreviation. I was like, what does Lark Go even mean? Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, wait till you hear about Cauldareen. C2. We're getting mathematical. Hey, everybody. Welcome in to the Gravvicon Order. It's a pleasure to have you here, all you fine folks joining us. And just a few quick announcements before we get into our session 0, which we're going to do live here so you can see everything we're doing. Sorry we're running a few late. We just wanted to make sure we went through all of the personal player things because player safety is top of our order, and want to make sure that everything we're going to be doing for this 12-week story is going to be right up in the alley of what they want and what they're comfortable with. And also what I can get away with dragons and monsters. So I didn't tip my hat there. There's not going to be a single dragon in this story. Just stare at the camera as long as you can. So you're here at the Lark Network. We run TTRPGs and all sorts of fun games throughout the week. You can follow us and check us out for all of that good stuff. And a couple of things to note. First off, if you like coffee, check out Found Familiar Coffee. We're an affiliate of Found Familiar, and you can go to foundfamiliar.com/Lark Network to check out their awesome D&D related coffees. What they make is the front of their bags are drawn by artists from around the world who are also working as TTRPG creators or artists, and a lot of that money goes to help and support them, so it's really awesome if you do it. But to help yourselves out, use promo code LARK Network to remove 10% from your order and just have a great time. Then also, just make sure that you come check out the other shows we do throughout the week and have a blast. Oh, you know what? And we're still doing the same thing. I'm just got the Cauldareen rundown in my head. All the behind the scenes done for the Gravvicon Order, you could just use the same thing here, is done by Sunset's Brew from the Torpid Gaming Network. So make sure you go check out Torpid Network. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll say it's just really weird being on camera and hearing this.
Yeah. So the guy in the middle at the bottom is doing the tech. The guy with the flashing lights and looks like he runs the tech because he's gonna have a jetpack and also Iron Man is doing the tech, and it's awesome, and you should go follow him at Sunset's Brew. Make sure to check that out. Now, let's get into the fun stuff, everybody. Let's get into the Gravvicon Order. So this is our session 0, and like I said, we've done some of the pre-game stuff already. I just saw a camera
Don't worry
swing.
about it.
Well,
It's fine. We're having some technical difficulties.
no worries.
My camera just went. It's fine. We're off to an excellent start. It's
That's
great.
the kind of start we like, though. We like a good, juicy,
Just slowly
energetic
fall.
start. And with that, we're going to start our intros, and we're going to start with you, Disruptive Katie. No.
Hi, it's me, Disruptive
Introduce your name.
Katie.
Introduce your name, your pronouns, and where people can find you. And then we'll get into characters and dig into that.
Cool. So yeah, my name's Katie. I go by Katiosaurus on all of the platforms. My pronouns are she, they. And also I have a podcast called The Infinite Quest, and it would be cool if you listened. And that's what I have to say.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to get some ads and stuff up during our actual campaign so that we can show off all the things you guys pitch, like Infinite Quests and everyone else's shows. Okay, next on screen order, we've got Danny.
Hi everyone, my name's Danny. I use he, him pronouns. What was the last thing?
And tell us where they can all find you.
Oh yeah, DannyPhantom.exe, DannyPhantom.exe on all platforms.
All right, make sure to go check Danny out. Also doing all sorts of fun streams throughout the week. Next up on camera, we got Offbeat.
What up, everybody? My name is Offbeat Outlaw. You can find me on all things Offbeat Outlaw, youtube.com/Offbeat Outlaw, offbeatoutlaw.com for merch, patreon.com/Offbeat Outlaw in case you wanted to keep me going full time, please. And I use he, him pronouns.
All right, thank you very much. And next up, we've got Sunset.
Hey, I am Sunset's Brew, aka Zep, and you can find me over here on the Lark Network, running the Clan of Cauldareen Tech, and here for this show. And if you want to give me a follow, you can follow Torpid Network on Twitch, where we run our tabletop RPGs, and you can hit me up on TikTok or Twitter at Sunset's Brew.
Okay, and thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, we've got CB.
Oh, hey everyone. My name is Omega Jones, also known as the Critical Bard across all social media channels. He, him pronouns. You can find me everywhere doing everything, working with companies like Wizards of the Coast, Critical Role, World of Darkness, just being a hot mess wherever I go.
And we're happy to have you. So thank you very much, everyone. Real quick chat. I'm going to spam you with a link right now, which is the link to this podcast that you're watching or streaming on right now. Grab that link, twitch.tv/Lark Network, and throw that somewhere on TikTok, on a Discord, or anything like that you're a part of. And let other people know you're hanging out here with us and getting ready to learn about the characters that are going to come into play in the next 12 weeks. I'm going to do this in a way where we check in on each person's character and we learn a little bit about some backstory. We check in about what we're expecting in the storyline. I'll tell y'all a little lore, but I don't want it to feel like we have to just sit in one spot and like don't talk to. I definitely want this to be like, we're going to be in campaign. You guys are going to be chiming in, going to be having some good time. So I guess what I'll do is I'll open up the floor first with a little bit of lore behind what the Gravvicon Order is. I'll keep it short, and then we'll get into everything else that we can about your specific characters. So some of the stuff that the folks at home should know, we're playing D&D. That's the system we're utilizing for this is D&D 5e specifically, and we are playing in the cinematic universe of Lark. So I built a game. First, I built a podcast, which actually celebrates its 1-year recap episode tomorrow on this channel at 10 a.m. We are Lark Fallen Gods, and that story has been going on for a year. And in that entire world that I built a game called Melee Ball. That started and went into spurring a second campaign that's called Lark Cauldareen Chronicles. Those are two campaigns happening simultaneously. They are within the same time frame, just on different sides of the continent. And they are both dealing with a problem that is somewhat tethered to something else. That something else is about to be discerned through what this 12 weeks happens. Yes, Alfie, your fault.
I haven't even started. I already ruined everything.
Damn it.
So what these players are about to get up to in the next 12 weeks, their storyline, they are essentially going to be the Rogue One of this Star Wars universe. So what they do will have been the cause of some of the problems that's to come. That does not mean what they do is bad or good, but it leaves the door open for X, Y, and Z that will eventually happen. But that won't make a lot of sense to a lot of you. It'll be a great encapsulated story by itself. But if you read between the lines or you listen to the other shows, you will note some things and you will catch some people or some notes or some history. And this is set several hundred years before that. But as you'll find out soon with the Gravvicon Order, time doesn't really matter. So let's get into what the Gravvicon Order itself is, the actual order. The Gravvicon Order is a group of people that live in a pocket dimension just on the cusp of everything. They sit just outside of all of the universes, outside of Wildmount, outside of the Feywild, outside of Faerun, outside of Lark, outside of Eberron. They are just a step away from all of them and a step removed. And they send groups of agents, who, this is our group here, to go and alter things because they need history to continue. And whatever action is taken by this team, or at least the mission they're given, is to do something that they deem continues that universe. It may be something as simple as going to ensure an adventuring party does not make it home from their journey. Because if they do, they bring back a cursed item that ends that universe in 100 years. Or something as simple as a king or queen cannot go to that event, otherwise they perish And that creates an all-out war that ultimately ends this world. The domino effect, the butterfly effect, is how they work. It's how they go to and they try to avoid. And the main thing that they understand is only higher deities or higher demons or higher, you have to be a very high-ranking entity to place an order to the Gravvicon Order, because they don't move on their own volition. They take orders and they dish them out as missions to their members. They are structured in a chess board set, and no one's really certain if chess came first or if the Gravvicon Order's influence throughout all dimensions created the very game. Pawns are what the players that you are experiencing are known as. They are the grunt workers, the ones who actually go do the mission. There are the rooks, who are the ones who are the arbiters of these missions. You can only talk to a rook. If you are an entity that tries to talk to any member about a job that is not a rook, someone will remove you from the timeline. That is how strict they are. You get sent places by the bishops. The bishops are the ones who are able to cast a new spell out of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, known as Dream of the Blue Veil. And by having one single item from any of the dimensions they need to send you based on the job, they can send a group of people to that other dimension. And they cast this and send you there. The players themselves are unable of bringing themselves home. When their job is complete and the timeline shows it, they are retrieved. They are not coming home until they are done. And then you have your knights, who are the retrieval force, but they're also the cleanup crew. If our party was to die or be unable to fulfill their mission because they're just not capable of handling whatever they encounter, a knight would arrive. But knights are very powerful and very problematic, and players would understand this once we get into the lore. Your characters would already know this by now. You do not want a knight existing on someone's plane for long. They are the butterfly effect compounded. Their presence can start to really have adverse effects. If they so much as attack someone to save you, the ripples of that expand exponentially, that could actually be problematic. So they have to be very calculated with when they do arrive. If you die, they may wait 20 years to come collect your body before they bring you back, because that's the window that will be the least damaging if they show up. And last but certainly not least, every chessboard has its king and queen, or in this instance, the crown, because we don't need gender norms here. The crown members are the pinnacle. The crown members are gods of fate, as it were. Their very existence could destroy other gods. Their very existence could remove universes. So they are very, very careful and very kept to themselves. They deliver orders to a rook, and those get out to the rest of the members when needed. But you do not encounter a crown often, and you would never want them to leave the castle. It is quite possibly devastating if they did. Simply being around things influences them, whether they mean to or not, and it will send a trajectory down either an exceptionally good path or an endless apocalypse. Now, that's where our pawns come in. So with that in mind, the thing that you should all know is to get into the Gravvicon Order, you're chosen, and you don't get to ask. You are plucked at the moment of your death from whatever realm you're really from. They've deemed you somewhere in the timeline as beneficial. So they pluck you right when you die, or sometime after you're dead, they pluck your body from where it is and slap your soul back in it. And they give you the option. You can go back to the dirt where you were, back in your universe, or you can work for us and do things that keep those universes going. We do not mind your answer either way, but those are your two options. In this instance, obviously, all of our players have chosen to stay above ground. Let's hear a little bit now about, first, I want to introduce who your characters are, and then we'll get into some of their stories. And folks, like, this is going to be the first time that the other players are hearing a lot about the other players. So, if they're excited, if they're interested, if they have questions, those are all open right now. So we're going to jump right now to the top with, so Katie,
I was sitting here going, please not me first, please.
No, that's okay. That's okay. We can slide over it. We'll go in reverse.
No, it's
order.
okay. It's okay. It's okay. I will put on my big girl pants. It'll be great.
Okay, let's do it. So yeah, let's hear about your character. I had a lot of fun talking with you about some of this build because we're bringing in some homebrew.
Oh man, I've never played a homebrewed character like this before, so I'm really excited. So I'm gonna be playing a character named Proxima. Character voice TBD. We'll work on it. And she is going to be a half tiefling, half changeling, which is going to present some interesting challenges, but also I think some like really cool potential for some like character and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she is a cleric because play one cleric, I guess you just play clerics for the rest of your life. But unlike Helvetica, Proxima is she's going to be a grave domain cleric, which I'm really excited about because it's a completely different type of magic. It's a completely different type of skill. It's a completely different spell set than I have ever worked with before. So I'm very, very pumped about this character.
Yeah.
What is a grave cleric? I just haven't heard of them. Can you
So cleric of the grave, I would be delighted to. So basically a grave domain cleric is a cleric who sort of like, it's like this weird sort of like funeral-ish cleric where it's they do a lot with like life and death. And so there's a lot of stuff like bringing people back from the brink or sending them over the brink, that kind of thing. And so what I was really, really drawn to in terms of creating this character was in this world that Corso has created for us. The Gravvicon is like bringing people back. And so for Proxima, that is an affront and just an absolute like, holy crap, I cannot believe that like this is such an affront to humanity and death and life, et cetera, et cetera. And so I thought that would be like a really interesting place to kind of start her character.
Yes, and there are some interesting things about Proxima in general that I'm super excited of. Anyone who knows about the LARC world, especially our main first podcast, Fallen Gods, the grave domain has a special place in our hearts, doesn't it, folks? And I'm excited to see, perhaps you'll learn why that is here. So, but with that, we've got some fun stuff, and CB and I were talking about this, about the idea of like how the half races and the mixed races should happen a lot more because it's just so fun and such a concept, you know. And CB, have you seen more or done more with those before?
I enjoy mixing up lineages, races, ancestries, however you want to flip them. Just because I mean it's look, if I see somebody and they cute and they happen to be a cat,
CB furry confirmed.
Look, but still, I think, and I know that's like a whole thing with like dominant and recessive genes, but this is D&D. This is not science.
Yeah, we can have fun.
Exactly, we can have fun. Yeah, I've played I told you I've played he was a genie warlock. He was a tabaxi, but his father was a fire ganassi. So he was a black cat that had like flames and embers all over his fur. And you can flavor it with whether it's mechanics, whether it's just how they look, but it's so easy to do, and I think more people should embrace that.
Absolutely, and especially with a character like a changeling that is able to transform at will into other characters. The idea that like we can't have them be like half this, half that, or the idea that a half elf has to be half human, you know, it's one of those things that like we should be able to expand that and really stretch it out. And I'm super excited to play with this concept of a half tiefling, half changeling. And we've got some fun things. So for some of the flavoring, you know, we're gonna definitely jump in and talk about some of those more in game. But one of the things I'd love to point out, you wanted to keep in there about the transformation process, Katie. You want to hit him with that
I'm so
little flavor?
excited. I'm so excited. This is so unnecessary, but it's my favorite part. So Proxima is half tiefling, and tieflings traditionally have horns and little tails. And so Proxima can completely transform because of her changeling side, but the only things that don't disappear are her horns and the tail. She has them all the time. And I think that is very fun.
Yes.
So
And
that's just that's my little like sprinkle. That's my little sprinkle on
for a being that has to go to other worlds and potentially blend in on a planet that only has humans. Now, granted, they could just not give you the mission, but sometimes if you're given that mission, a character that can transform but can't quite hide it all has a lot of story potentials there. So,
I feel like Proxima is gonna just have a really cool hat collection. Just too many hats. It'll be great.
Hats and robes. Okay. So then next up, funny enough, our other half and half character. Let's talk about Bucket, Danny.
Okay, so I'm looking at the overhead. It's actually wrong there. So Bucket's a half elf, half fallen Asimur, and he's not a rogue. He's a fighter. So.
Oh yeah, sorry. This was.
I'll change it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. God, how could you not get it right the first time? Jesus.
Bucket was just a rogue he was just a rogue in melee balls, and I was like, oh, he's gonna be a rogue
it's not
again.
like I literally changed almost everything about him. The story is still the same though. So Topher exists in Bucket's backstory. Same with Helvetica. So I'm gonna talk you two.
Okay, hang on, Danny. Don't go putting words in my mouth. You don't know if they still exist.
They might not, but they did. They did. I really hope so. God.
Oh no.
Don't fuck with my backstory like that. Don't fuck with me, Corso.
We'll get to why that is based on what. But last night, Danny and I were up till 2 a.m. my time doing the stream, rocking out some awesome stuff. And I see some of the folks in the chat here. We're from there, so it's great to have y'all in here. Yeah, there was a lot of fun that we had. So yeah, tell them about Bucket a bit.
Well, again, Bucket's he's a fallen Asimur, so he's a bit on. I think it's really funny that the cleric is a tiefling and the fighter. Well, he's a pirate, so he's an angel, so it's kind of a diversion of expectations, which I think is funny.
Oh yeah.
What
with that fallen Asimur? Typically, the Asimur goes fallen because of either a breaking their sort of rules to their god, or something else dark and sinister has interacted with them that outranks their god. And so if you get the blessing of a devil and your deva has granted you just a little bit of a little celestial touch, you might turn into a fallen Asimur simply because it's combating that absolute evil energy.
A good way you described it yesterday was it's like an angel gave you a blessing, but then Satan himself came and just poked you.
Yeah, and you were like, oh no, okay, I guess I'm celestial, but I'm scary.
Exactly. So that's basically that's Bucket now. And he was born into an elf family, so he's a half elf, and some bad shit happened to him, and now he is spiteful and a pirate and writes young adult novels in his spare time.
Yes, and don't you think we're not going to talk about the big question for each of you is how your character died? Well, it'll be something that your player characters may not exist on the idea of knowing of each other, but I think it's fun to just know what's inside your heads when you're going into battle, when you're going onto a mission, because knowing where you came from and why you chose to stay here working for them will be a big part of the story. So yeah, we've got a half elf, half fallen Asimur fighter, an Eldritch Knight to be specific.
Yeah. So it's really funny because he was a rogue and he's a fighter now, so it's a little bit of a difference. But I'm still going to play him as a rogue. So
he's got the sneaky, he's got the hiding, he's got the all the special.
He's got a couple tricks up his sleeve to help him. He's definitely got a couple tricks up his sleeve.
And that's the beauty of fighters. They're just like these lovely little pieces of putty that can fit anything you want.
I was looking at him like, geez, okay, man.
Okay, I guess we can do whatever we want to today. And I love that, and I'm super excited to see that play out. And so with the next one, you were just talking about fighters. We've got you up next, Offbeat.
Yeah, I'm finally not playing a fighter.
Really?
Not yet. I'm gonna be a fighter in approximately 2, 4 levels. But
Give it time.
the future of this build is available on my YouTube channel. Please watch it. But what this build is going to be is this guy's name is Gallagher Quickshot. He is a variant human because I believe variant humans are the coolest.
Agreed.
And I think what this and this guy's backstory is he lived his entire life as a charlatan, which is where he gets his backstory and why he's proficient with a disguise kit. He was going to be an heir to a massive insurance empire, the Quickshot family empire, and then he was assassinated because my man talks too much and accidentally talked to the mob, so he died.
Straight up talks too much.
And then in this weird ether space, when he was like not yet dead, not yet alive, he awakened his astral self, where he trained. This astral self trained him for 10 years. And taught him wisdom beyond speech, beyond quick talking, beyond just being lovable. And he forgot his old ways, which is why his charisma is now very low. He now is wise beyond his years and was taught by this astral self to learn him something. And now he yearns for all that he didn't have in life. The Gravvicon Order gave him a new thing. I had no idea what this was all necessarily about, so I left it very much up to Corso. But I allowed him. I was like, this guy, his new thing now is he wants to experience nature. He wants to know what he missed. He was in the city life, but now he wants to experience the wisdom that the trees may give. So that is why he is going to multi-class into Ranger first. So yeah.
He's been
That's
radicalized
Gallagher.
by the hippies.
Yeah.
CV's like, wait, no, you're gonna get us killed.
No, I hear Ranger and I'm just like, oh no.
No, I'm
If you think Rangers are bad,
Watch
if
his
there's one
video.
thing I don't do, it's make bad builds. This
Yeah.
build will knock your socks
You're gonna sit
off.
here and tell us we're wrong?
Yes.
I'm ready for
witch!
this. I'm ready for this to backfire. It's gonna be a perfect build, natural ones across the board.
Oh yeah, that's the only way that rolls out. Is like you're right. The build is impeccable, but the dice are like, no, I can't.
The
I can't have this.
I'm not allowed to swear on stream? Question mark.
Yeah, you will be allowed to.
Okay, thank you.
It will be allowed. I will
But
say. Oh, go ahead.
But yes, this entire build, and I always do that. I try to make my backstories with the build because I want to prove that power gamers aren't just the nerds who only know calculators and who are like, I don't like RP. I'm like, I love RP. I just want to make quips and jokes. This guy's name's Gallagher Quickshot. Anyway, that's my piece. I've said it.
No, I'm super stoked to see Gallagher up in this, and yeah, with his death being an assassination, there's a lot of fun stuff to play with there. And especially having the Gravvicon Order pluck you out and say, hey, we've got work for you, bud. We got a posture check there. Thank you. So next up, we got Zeb. What you bringing to the table?
Yeah, so I'm bringing Taika Kuzlo, who is a College of Creation bard. I have never played a College of Creation bard, and
I got to announce the College of Creation bard for Wizards.
Ooh, let's go!
I have a love for it. Sorry, continue.
All right, I am sorry that I'm gonna absolutely not be doing it justice because I am awful at D&D.
Zap, you were the only useful person in Melee Ball, okay? You can shut up. Bad at D&D, my ass.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
So yeah, it's you want to
A College of Creation bard. What's the difference between a College of Creation bard and a regular bard?
So when you're a bard, you get to go into a different like college of it's kind of like Death Domain Cleric where
cool.
And so for College of Creation, it's kind of more focused on like he is able to conjure up a non-magical item once every long rest. That's like their thing that they get to do, and he was a traveling magician. Also, I'm doing this to troll Corso as well. Like,
no.
Kuzlo.
Yes. If you know that both of those names mean magic in different languages. Like,
I am so happy right now. Please proceed.
And so Taika was a traveling magician, and he looks like think Captain Yami from Black Clover, but just with like deep purple skin and jet white hair. He and he has this flowing purple robe. And and he died in a freak accident during one of his shows. And the last thing, and really the only thing that he remembers from his previous life, is just the disbelief and horror on his assistant Roth's face. And Taika knows that it was his fault why that happened, but all that he wants to do is go back and find Roth and tell him that it's not your fault. And that was why he accepted the offer from Gravvicon, is that to maybe one day go back and find his old troop and tell them that it was not their fault that he passed.
Okay.
Aww.
See, that's very good. Just like heart wrench there, and I love that. As a magician, having a person play a magician in my campaign is actually the first person who's played someone. You've like magic characters. Everyone plays magic characters. This will be the first time I've got to DM someone who's playing what I do for a living. And I'm gonna have a fun, awful time with it, and it's gonna be beautiful. Because it's like, I shuffle the cards like this, and I'm like, no, that's not how they. It's not.
Well, the worst part is like I don't know anything about magicians, so it's like it's gonna be awful for you, Corso, and I'm sorry.
That you should learn about magicianing just so you can do it wrong.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Just to
I
make
will.
it bad.
I will give you all the secret inside joke words to troll
Katie's
Corso
also
with.
a magician.
Oh,
It's true.
excellent.
Can you let me know what my Erdnase
Yeah.
check is, please, Corso?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna put a bunch of like magic tricks on my Amazon wish list. So if people just want to like just start getting those flowing, I will bring them on screen and we can make Corso cry.
Yeah.
Go do the finger trick.
Yeah. Hey, do the finger trick.
If Gallagher ever learns you are a magician, he's going to be like, "Hey, can you show me the finger
Oh,
trick?"
you're-
Because he's low. He's
You're gonna know that Taika's a magician because that's like everything about the College of Creation is basically magic tricks. Like that's how he does all the College of Creation stuff.
he's going.
I love this.
I want to just really quickly piggyback real quick. So the College of Creation, what's really cool about them is obviously, well, first of all, bards don't have to sing. As the critical bard, you don't have to sing to be a bard. But past that, they wanted an idea of the music of the planes and the song of creation being a physical manifestation and entity that these bards can pull from. So that's why they can create all these things. So it's really cool that you flavored that into like them doing magic tricks and things, and that you're literally pulling something out of thin air versus
Exactly.
knowing how the Arcana works. You're literally pulling from this creation weave, and I think this is really cool.
Yes, I love playing bards that don't do music. It's like, like being able to like flavor is like something that I really love.
So this is 100% got those Zatanna vibes, where it's like she plays a magician to hide the fact she is a wizard. Like
Exactly.
Right.
So that brings us to you, CB.
Playing the wizard. So his name is Dr. Raphael Lorcan. He goes by Raphael, Raph, or Doc. He was kind of a sage in his community. He was the one who always helped people and tried to just make the world around him be a little better than it is. Because we all know the world's shitty, even if it's fantastical. But with that, he calls himself Doctor or Doc because he called himself a doctor of the Arcana, of magic, showing that magic wasn't something to be scared of. It wasn't something that is super volatile or worrisome. It can help you, but you don't have to depend on it. He just a super, almost like therapeutic entity in his community. And he grew older. He's actually in his upper 50s. He had a child, a daughter, and he died a very peaceful death. He did not get killed, anything like that. It was just his time to go. I think the amount of magic that he used and put out gets slowly siphoned away at his own life force in a way. But what makes him a little special is that he, in death, the ceremony that the community gave him was they all wrote down a time, and I use our time because time is weird in D&D, but I use they all wrote down certain times in their life that he did something for them, like a time they remember. So like there is 525 on the right side of his neck, and that's when his daughter was born. There's 841, that's when he died. That's on his chest. There's different times all over his upper body, his arms, his neck, his legs, things of that nature. And when you die and you have that raw magic and time goes on and then you get pulled, that kind of changes a little bit. He's a time wizard now. He's a Chronergy Wizard. He can kind of manipulate the forces of time, and he doesn't know that. He doesn't understand that, so he's trying to understand that now. And his spell book is all the time pieces on his body. So he is kind of a muscle wizard, but not in the sense like he's like trying to like flex anything like that. But he is not your nerdy academic type guy. He likes to be hands-on. And he's very excited to learn or help or do what he can for this order, but also understand why he can manipulate the forces that he can now. He's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I'm super stoked for this, and I just want to point some things out for our viewers who know anything about any of the other campaigns. I want you to understand that we have a character who is a grave cleric. We have a character who has tattoo magic. We have a character who was touched by a dark entity, a character who was assassinated, and with Quickshot, the Quickshot family, did they deal with firearms?
I was going to make it a joke that they exclusively didn't. But you could also make it that it could be that I just didn't know or something. I am open to whatever you want to do.
Up 100% fine either way. And we have a creation bard, and the elements of the story that you guys, granted, this was so much fun because like I said, this is that like story before the stories. And when you all came to me with your characters and I was just thinking about what that might mean, you couldn't have given me better gifts. You couldn't have handed me better gifts for what is coming. And I've talked to some of you about some of the cool connections without necessarily tipping why it's super important. But to our folks listening, yeah, I'm super excited to see the influence that these characters have. Now, we've got their list of deaths, but there is one we haven't talked about. And I guess real quick, let me ask you this out loud, Katie, but you can just answer. Is that a secret, or is that something that people would know?
Man, I think maybe it's important people know.
Okay.
I feel like going in it will really help contextualize. I think.
You can decide if the other players know in game, but for this instance, the thing to understand is to join Gravvicon, you're plucked from death. You've been alive, you've died, you're resurrected, and we'll talk in a minute about how long all of you have been dead. But the most important part here on Katie's story is that Proxima has never died. Proxima is on life number 1 and was simply plucked and told something enough to interest her to stay. And so Proxima is on life numero uno and didn't have to choose between death or going back. And so there is definitely some fun information there. But let's go to, with that, how long has... Oh no, we discussed this last night, that it was instantaneous. So like I said, you can either be plucked right before you die in a manner that no body would be found, so they don't care if someone comes looking for you. That building exploded under a volcano. No one's going to find you, so they can pluck you at that moment. Or building. Right? So with that in mind, Danny, why don't you tell them how long Bucket's been dead?
Oh God, I would say for... You know, it really it doesn't matter, but I guess we could say, like, let's say like a good couple months. You know, he's gotten used to like the whole Gravvicon Castle thing. You know, he's just he's dealt with the madness a little bit, and he's fine not understanding it. He's a simple pirate making his way through the universe.
And and with Bucket's death, it was again a little strange occurrence.
It was. So Bucket was a captain of a ship, if you didn't know, and he got his new crew from the Melee Ball tournament. That's the whole reason why he went, because he went and he recruited the fighters in Melee Ball. So his right-hand man Topher was, that was Zep's character. It was his first mate and everything, and then Helvetica was his writing partner. I don't know. They talked about writing at some point, and I think he tried to at least recruit everyone in the Melee Ball tournament. And then one day, while sailing the high seas, they got caught in a storm, and a mysterious creature attacked their ship, and it was completely annihilating them. So Bucket was like, everyone off the ship, and he took the ship into the middle of the ocean where it sunk, and he drowned, almost eaten by the monster, and was plucked from the very moment the monster almost ate him.
So a mysterious thing destroyed his ship. His crew got on lifeboats and tried to swim the other way to at least have a chance of survival. But Bucket, a key point here is Bucket's unsure if his sacrifice was actually successful. He was plucked before he died, and Bucket doesn't know if Topher or Helvetica or the rest of his crew even got away for what he did. But it's a very important thing that he was plucked at the moment, a mysterious thing. And there seems to be a theme with Bucket's life. Some mysterious thing happened when he was young that turned him from a regular, bright ASMR child to an interaction with something that suddenly turned him dark and got him exiled from his family. And because they turned on him, he's no longer this bright star, no longer this beautiful ASMR elven golden child. This more demonic looking thing got outcast. And then again, at the time of death, something mysterious destroys Bucket's ship. And full stop, Danny, the word is mysterious. That is,
I don't know. I have no clue. I really don't know. Of course, can it be something mysterious? And I'm like, yes, please. Screw with my head. So
he's like, this is how I died. And I was like, can it be a mysterious creature? And he's like, yeah, that works. And so there's so much window of opportunity here. I'm super stoked to dig into.
I'm very excited.
And I think I love that heartstring moment of, you don't even know if it was worth it.
Yeah, exactly. That was the whole reason why he came back.
Right. Yeah.
That's the whole reason why he came back. Because he's like, I need to know if everyone's alive. I need to know if my crew survived. And
so we have at least two characters. Well, technically with Katie's, we have three characters who have chosen, there's a for sure reason that they're alive, that they want to stay back because they're hoping one day to accomplish something else. And with that, how long was Gallagher dead? So with them, they can pluck you at any point, or they can pull you from the grave after hundreds of years because now is the time they need you. How long has Gallagher Quickshot been dead?
Gallagher was dead for 10 years, and he trained nonstop with his astral self, teaching him the ways of the monk, giving him this profound wisdom that he should now take with him, and teaching him to forget his old ways of revelry and hooliganry and being a deviant. So it's been 10 years for him when he was plucked from this in-between life state.
And at some point, you just wake up in Gravvicon and they give you the rundown, and for some reason you chose to stay.
Yeah, I feel like Gallagher, since he's gained all this wisdom of life and death, and he's like, I lived like a child for his whole life, and he's like, I'm reasoning, he's like, I've been given a second chance and I want to live like I should. And he wants to, and a big personal thing for him is he's like, I spent my entire life in the city. I never got to know what life would be like in the forests, close to nature. That's where I feel like I belong. That's kind of what he thinks anyway, at least currently. It should also be noted that he does have an intelligence of 9, meaning he's not particularly smart.
I'm so wise in the ways of the world, he says, talking to a rock.
You'll never guess where I was yesterday, Plant.
I am so excited to play with that. So excellent. And so you want to live life differently this time around. I mean, right now you're, working for the order, but you never know where that leads. And hopefully the second life proves to be everything you need it to be. And how about with Taika? So we know Taika died and is back for the sole purpose of wanting to hopefully one day tell their assistant, it wasn't your fault. Don't live with that guilt. But how long was Taika gone? Do they even know? Oh, you're muted.
Okay, nice. I guess the question is, and this may have been in the lore, and I'm just an awful listener, does the Gravvicon Order send the pawns to different times, or is it only at the current time that they can send them to other dimensions?
Make an intelligence check.
Zep the player or Taika? Because Zep and Taika have very different intelligence scores. Here.
So, yeah, roll a d20 and I'll decide how we answer that question.
That's a 12.
Okay. So you have seen in these other realms, you have for sure on your mission seen, you're going to different time periods. Okay. You're going to places. You don't know the exact mechanics of it because they don't have to like tell you everything, but you understand, like you've probably even been maybe to your own land, but like hundreds of years prior.
Gotcha. Yeah, because I think probably something that Taika did when he was first talking to whoever plucked him was he probably was when they were given him this alternative, he was like, is it possible for me to go back to around the same time when my crew is still alive? Because that's like the one thing that he wants to do. Yeah. And so then it's probably, he may not know exactly how many years have passed, but probably a couple hundred. It's probably a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while as far as he was concerned, and his soul was plucked and his body given back to him, and here they stand, hoping one day to get back to their realm at the right time period, the right place. And if the fates decide it, it just might happen. But exactly. It's something they've been working on. How long have they been, let me ask you this, how long have they been back and working and helping Gravvicon?
Probably for maybe like a year or two, I think.
Okay.
Like he's probably been on a couple missions, but definitely like he's probably not the guy they would call if they really need something done.
Okay. So yeah, you go out on missions and things like that, but you're not the knight that they're calling,
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. And I love that. So it sounds like a lot of the folks have been a couple months, a year they've been back. We haven't checked on Katie or Offbeat, so think about that question. I'm going to go to CB, but think about that question about how long you've been here at Gravvicon, because we talked about how long you've been dead, but how long have you been actively working? We got 1 year, we've got a couple months for Bucket. So CB, let's talk about Dr. Raphael Lorcan.
I'll be just completely above board real quick. I built him based on, I was like, okay, we have a cleric, fighter, human, monk. Let's have some more arcana in here. Yeah. Because as Corso knows, I do a show literally right before this. Yeah. So I was like, I know that I can't think too hard. However, though, I still wanted to make a fun character, and he's very much a mentor-esque character. He likes to do things like that. So all that being said, he's been dead for at least 150 years. Yeah. And he's been actively working with Gravvicon for probably the past 20.
Okay.
I think he kind of jumped on the idea of, I mean, obviously, he's alive, so let's do something alive, whatever this means for them. But he has a natural affinity of helping and just being a presence like that. So yeah, I think he's been, one, helping for a while, but two, also honing the new found abilities that he has, because he wasn't a Chronergy Wizard at first. He was a conjurer.
So all that life of knowledge got spent learning how to do like the arcane arts, but now they've changed the instruments you use.
Exactly. So now he's trying to understand that. So he's been doing it for a little bit.
Okay.
So yeah.
So 20 years there. And, jumping on that idea of just coming back and getting offered the chance to keep going. And that sounds like it was right up there, especially someone who literally deals with time is like, okay, let's go. Like,
especially because he didn't deal with time when he was alive.
Yeah.
And now he does. And he's trying to figure out why he does. And why his spell book isn't physical anymore. It's now all over his form. He doesn't learn, whenever he's learned new spells, putting it in a spell book hasn't done anything, but putting it on his skin has.
Yeah.
So he's trying to figure out what that means.
And I think something important to point out, and we'll get the answer real quick. Well, yeah, I'll get the answer first from the two of you of how long you've been working here, and then I'll tell another bit of lore that's important to note. So, Offbeat, how long has Gallagher been working?
First day. First day of campaign is
Oh.
the first day. My guy just if he had been working there longer, he should be smarter. But he's been this is his first day here, and he's just like, what up? Also, it is important to note that he looks shockingly like McCree from Overwatch. Like, just.
So you're
just,
playing Matthew Mercer?
I'm texting him right now.
No, but also hi Matthew.
That's 100% the vibe, and I love it. So that's 100% what we're looking forward to. So we got a first day, we got a 20 years, we've got a single year, we've got a couple months. How long has Proxima been here?
So, oh man, I feel like I'm bandwagoning now, but about a week is right before where we're going to pick up this adventure. Proxima was pulled from what she was doing, and she was offered a choice. And so this like whole thing has sort of like or her place in this adventure has come from her having to like make a very tough decision and like moving into this. So she's like she's not like day one show you the ropes, but she is very much like this is her first adventure. She has not worked with these people before, and so yeah, I think she's gonna be looking to Doc for a little guidance, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, Doc, what do we do here? You've been here a while, and that's going to be really fun to explore. One thing that's important to note, and this is a ruling from Gravvicon and my lore in it, is these players, these characters, when they died, if they had a deity that or any sort of energy that fed them power, like a cleric or like a perhaps a wizard or anything of the sort, their abilities no longer are connected to the deities they knew before, because those deities belong in a universe. Gravvicon is outside, and so Gravvicon, the actual being Gravvicon, is your new battery. And they explain that when you were plucked and you were brought back, your deity might not even recognize you because you're gone. You're removed from the time stream. Sometimes you'll be back there, sometimes you're not, but you can't trust that ability, and we need your ability. So your new battery source is this god of fate, Gravvicon. And that is, regardless, you can still worship who you want, you can still but your literal power source, you don't have to like beg for power. It's just like, so you understand where the wire is connected to, it's the castle. It's here. And that is what they've like sort of explained. And so there's a lot to dig into in that and discover, how it's changed you. Because for instance, I mean, you were a cleric and you got plucked, and it's like, hey, not as much anymore. You are still exactly what you were. You are still a cleric of the grave domain. You are still able to do everything you were able to, but there might be a little flavor in there about how it's different because it's not pulled from the same place anymore. Those wizards, you're already dealing with the fact that your magic actually changed to literal time magic. What? And so that was a big change for your character. And I'm super excited to be able to explore that. I know we're going to try and pack a lot in for 12 weeks, but yes, folks, this is our session 0, and I'm so excited about what we're looking to do here. Now, some of the other stuff in the sessions here, we got a little bit of time here left, is I want to walk around and kind of feel out our characters, maybe give these folks a chance. So let's do a little mock moment here of getting you guys to walk around as your characters. So you can play around with voices. We can chime in if we think like, ooh, maybe try that. Maybe, think about this, any input. So the 5 of you are in a room at Gravvicon. You've all been ordered to come in, and they would like to test something. There are several other members in this room with you, and they have placed each of you in the room and given you a blindfold to put on. and they're explaining we're going to be selecting teams for some projects, and we're going to take notes of how you work today. And we'd like to see how this goes. And you're going to be asked to complete some tasks in this room. We will alter things. We will alter the magic of the room. We will alter some of the things. And we just would like to do a little bit of a test. Now, at this point, you've seen this before, Doc. You've seen some of this done before, where they've paired you with various things because they need specifically the right people for the right timeline, because they need to get the jobs done in the best way possible. The less interference and the quicker the job completion, the better chance of less butterfly effect. They just want to be right to the point. And so while you don't necessarily understand it, you know what's going on. You're all handed the blindfolds and told what to do. What does Doc do first?
Put me on the spot. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Great. And sorry, forgive me. This is just preparing for what's happened. This isn't. They haven't told us what to do yet. We're just.
Yeah, basically they've handed you the blindfolds and they said we're gonna have to tread. And there's several other people in the room, say like 10 or so that they're working. They've numbered it down. And yeah, they've handed you the blindfolds and they're just sort of explaining some stuff. But you were handed one. What do you do?
Okay. And the rest of the characters here are in the room as well.
Yeah.
Cool. I would probably just kind of look around and see who's here, and go to the one who looks the most nervous.
Okay.
And simply say, "Do not worry. This will be over sooner than you think. It's not a bad thing."
And let me ask real quick, because we didn't specify which one of them it is. How nervous would Gallagher or Proxima look? Because I know Proxima has admitted she'd be looking for Doc for, probably guidance. But this is that first week. Let me hear how your characters would look, because that'll determine which one of you Doc just talked to.
Gallagher is cool as a cucumber. My guy has been spending the past 10 years in purgatory. He has like Iamonic seat. This is interesting, but this is better than dead, baby.
Okay, so then yeah, it sounds like because it doesn't sound like Taika or Bucket would be particularly nervous, having been here for months. So yeah, this is your first week, and it sounds like you just talked to Proxima.
Cool, yeah. And I'll head over. Yeah, yes. Don't worry. It seems a lot more intimidating than it is.
Why do they do this? Why do they make us go through all this? I don't understand.
I have learned to not ask questions, for I know I will not get an answer. At least, not one I would hope for.
But doesn't it make you angry that they do not give us any answers to the questions that we have?
Anger, no. But we have been given a second chance to live or do something. Why argue with it?
Suppose. I think Proxima isn't necessarily frightened. I think Proxima is deeply frustrated, because the more questions she asks and the more time she spends trying to get answers, everyone around her just gives her non-answers. And I think she gets more and more frustrated the more that this happened, because she's not used to this. And I think especially like her background is in like caring for the dying as the result of war and violence and battles. And so like she's used to suffering. She's used to seeing terrible things, but what she's not used to is not having a clear order. She's not used to having this kind of direction. And I think that is the thing that she is the most frustrated about. So like I kind of envision Proxima just kind of like stepping behind Doc and just kind of like following his lead, because at least somebody here seems like they know what they're doing.
And as she does that, he would move. He would respect that. But you would hear in your head, I understand this probably is confusing. I was confused as well. I would give you more answers if I knew them. And he is not using message. He's just simply telepathic.
Oh, sick.
Sick.
You can't respond, but yeah, he can speak to you. He can speak telepathically to you.
I think Proxima just like, Cool nod.
Give him
Cool
a
kid
nod.
nod.
Question.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
any of us have any prior relationships to each other? Like I know, again, Taika, Doc, and I have been here for a while. Do any of us have any prior relationships with each other? Or
This is a great time to answer that. Yeah, this is session 0, baby.
okay.
So, and that's a great one because the oldest and one of the newest members, they're just having this interaction. So yeah, it does Bucket, Taika, or Gallagher. Gallagher, it's your first day, but there's still a chance that maybe you ran into one of them earlier. So let me ask Danny, is there one that you think you would have had an interaction with, the magician or the warrior, the fighter, monk?
Obviously, Doc's been here for a while, so it's likely I've at least seen him before.
Yeah.
I've been here for 20 years. I've been here for a couple of months. What was I saying? God, I can speak. Jesus, sorry.
No worries.
Zen man over here. I don't know. Bucket's pretty outgoing, so he might have tried to talk to him and not gotten much of a response. I don't know. But Magic Man, Mr. Bard over there, Mr. Taika,
Yep.
we both have similar common interests. We have some common goals. We know what loyalty and honor is. So maybe I probably, and you've been here for a little bit too. So we probably
It's been a year.
Yeah.
He's been a little longer than you.
Oh yeah, exactly. So I've definitely at least talked to Doc and
Let's say,
Taika
yeah.
a bit.
It would make sense. Taika is, he's probably he has a pretty big personality.
Well, that's perfect.
And people probably know who he is, even if they've seen him fuck up and do something
They're
dumb.
like, oh, that's Taika.
But he definitely has a big personality, and he's if he was given a blindfold, he'd be the first person to put it on and be like, oh, we're doing this again. Oh, I love this.
Can I be with Taika and be talking to him?
Yeah. So
Wonderful. I'm gonna talk about Taika. Taika, do you want me to tie your blindfold? You're having a little trouble behind your head.
Yeah, no, Bucket, can you? Yeah, just I have some trouble behind there.
No, turn around. This is how we go. There we go. Wonderful. All right, completely blind, right?
Yep, I can't see.
How many fingers am I holding up?
6.
Close enough.
Yes.
Okay, so and Bucket, do you put yours on?
I'm like Taika. You tie it now. You tie mine.
Yeah. Okay. And he probably pokes you in the eye.
Yeah. You know what? Hang on. No, hold on. Make a sleight of hand check. I know you might not have all the stats, but at least roll the die. Oh, you're done?
I'm a magician. Yeah. Sleight of hand. Come on. That's a 25.
Excellent. Yeah. So you nailed that.
I'm like, wonderful.
Yeah, no, I got you. I can't tie it behind my head, but when I'm, this is easy.
Give him a gentle caress on the cheek on the way back.
You're so sweet, Taika. Thank you so much. Now, does anyone else need help? Excuse me. And I'm just going to kind of walk around blind a little bit to stumble into people, trying to help them.
And actually, the beautiful part about this, Danny, I'll remind you something about your character is unless
I have blind sight. I can see blind sight. So I'm just going to
literally see.
I'm going to be like, do you need help tying things? I'm fine. It looks weird. I'm fine.
So yeah, you're good to go. And I guess this is where Gallagher, at some point, this blindfold, a half elf strolls your way and asks you, do you need help?
Taika. No, Taika. Hello there, Mr. Meditate. Do you need help?
You can call me Gallagher, and
Gallagher.
I don't necessarily need help, but I would greatly appreciate it.
Wonderful. So I guess you're new. Hi, I'm Bucket.
I arrived about 5 minutes ago. This is all quite
wow. This is really new for you. First time. Wonderful to hear. So here, this is a blindfold. Do you know what that is?
Are you seriously asking me that question?
Listen, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you've happened to you. What year is it?
Enough?
Good enough answer. Here, I'll tie this for you now. And I'm gonna tie the blindfold on.
Gallagher's gonna bend his head for the tying, I guess.
Here you go. Wonderful. I'm gonna give a pat on the head. I'm like, you are a strange fellow. I like it.
And you hear. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna like, yeah, it's been a long 10 years out in the middle of nowhere, but
whoa, 10 in the middle of nowhere. Wait, what?
I died.
Well, we all did, I'm pretty sure, or came close at least. But
I guess death is a common experience.
Yeah, it's something we all kind of use. It's like a shared trauma bonding, you know? That's kind of how it is.
Wow. Whoever's writing this must be very clever.
Mhm.
And at this moment, you all hear a voice in your head say, "Welcome. Now, if you would be so kind as to find it. It's somewhere in the room. Please locate it." And at this point, I know that the three of you are blindfolded. Doc, did you blindfold yourself?
I did.
Okay. And has Proxima?
Proxima very begrudgingly like put it on her head, but like had it like here. Like she didn't like put it all the way down. Like she was like
so
holding out for the last minute.
Proxima, roll a perception check because your eyes are still open right now.
Could I roll perception as well since I have blind sense?
Yes. So go ahead and roll a perception for me. And you've got a 10-foot blind sense. And Proxima, your eyes are you're looking around the room. You're like not listening to the rules just yet.
I give Bucket a slap on the shoulder and be like,
Here's looking at you, kid.
and I cast guidance as a cantrip.
Whoa.
So
Give him a little D4 there.
yeah.
All right,
right,
thank you.
so-
Well, so I add D4 to my roll.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Well, if it's an 18 with my base, and then I have to roll +4. That
Roll
is that right there is a 4. So that is a 22.
22. Excellent. So, and let's hear what Proxima got.
3.
Okay. So actually, this is fantastic. So, Bucket, you sense the area, and as soon as he places your hand on you, it's almost like an echolocation sort of moment. You just feel the vibrations through this person who's touched you. You instantly place them. You can place where Taika is standing a few feet away. You can place two of the other folks who seem to be standing quite contently there with their blindfolds. They have not moved from their spot, and you can sense nothing else. You have a 10-foot reach with that, but you perfectly know your surroundings, and you don't really sense anything else. You have your eyes wide open, and you're looking around, Proxima, and they said, find it. There's literally the 10 people who are in the room, and the people who handed you the blindfolds have left. There's nothing to see. Like, you're just looking at a bunch of blindfolded people in a room looking around.
Oh, do you want me to do something?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I was sitting here going like, what should I do? That's good D&D, folks. Just awkward silences as I consider my options. Oh man.
How would Proxima react to like hearing this? Please find it. And you took a look. You're like, hey, I'm cheating. Like I can.
Proxima. I think Proxima stands for a couple of seconds. And she thinks about what she has just been told. Then she reaches up and she rips open the blindfold.
And just takes it off.
Takes it off, tears it open.
Cool.
I need a cool fabric tear check for that. I don't know.
No, yeah. You tear the blindfold. And yeah, it's a simple piece of cloth. You just rip this thing in half. And there is nothing. You just rip a piece of fabric in half. And with that, Doc, you are standing right there. Make a simple perception check. Actually, no, your passive is what?
21.
No, that's investigation. My passive perception is 15.
Okay, so yeah, that's enough to hear someone not trying to hide it tear something behind you. So you've just heard us behind you.
You would have seen him begin to he kind of gets like honed in on himself, and there's you might be able to see it, but on his leg there is a O2.:34 that begins to glow as he begins to ritual cast detect magic. But as he's doing that, he hears that a rip. He just, in her mind, following the rules might be helpful in this moment.
And she can't respond to that, right?
No.
Yeah.
She can only talk if she wanted to.
Yep.
Proxima whips, like, just throws the blindfold on the ground, and she heads over to like the nearest corner, and she just does like a slump on the ground and puts her head in her hands and just like yells, like just like fuck this, fuck all this, fuck. Like,
I was gonna ask if I could sense that, but no, I heard it.
No, you can hear it. So let's jump to I guess Taika real quick, and then we'll do Bucket and Gallagher. So you guys are hearing this. What would each of you do? Taika, what would you do hearing someone yell this? And then we'll resolve the detect magic.
Yeah, and I'm going to be doing something relatively similar. Is that as soon as I hear that yelling, Taika kind of just looks around. Look, it's never good to start screaming when they hand stuff. You know, I've had to do stuff like this in the past, and the best thing is to just and he just kind of like sits down, doesn't finish his thought, and also is ritual casting detect magic.
Excellent. Bucket, what would you do when you hear this?
I'm gonna be like, well, someone is very frustrated. They need help. Mr. Zen Master might be able to help. And I kind of like pick him up and like, may I? And I'm like, if he says yes, I'll put him on.
I go, whatever suits your fancy, man.
All right, and I'll just like I'll throw him over my shoulder. I'm like, you're going to help whoever needs this. And Taika,
I'm a backpack.
You. And I'm like, Taika, you're a nerd. Let's go. And I'm gonna like drag him over to where this person was screaming.
That's just like your opinion.
It's a fact. Look at you. You're ritual casting.
Doc just like you can't see it, but gets opened his eyes.
Yeah. Taika just gives you one of these, just like.
I can see that.
So, you two casting detect magic are reaching out and kind of sensing. Now, the thing about the detect magic is is that a on-site thing?
1 second.
Presence of magic within 30 feet of you.
Okay. Yeah, it's not a site thing.
No.
I was making sure.
So yes, you sense a bit of conjuration magic within reach of each of you. And so you've got a blindfolded person who's picked up you've got blindfolded Bucket who has picked up Gallagher and is pulling Taika over in the direction, and he can sense with blind sense, so he's not going to run into anyone unless he meant to. And you're able to kind of go somewhat in the direction that you heard the screams. But as you're passing, not only do you sense conjuration magic, but you both sense a little divination magic ritually.
as we're passing by each other.
yeah, you sense each other's movement there. And so you sense the divination, but you sense this conjuration magic as well. And so you're all blindfolded, and I'd say about this point, what do you do with that information, Doc?
You said this conjuration magic. I guess that makes sense. What he does do, I did not mention something. It wasn't necessary to mention it yet. You see above, well, you don't see anything. You get here, whoo, as a owl starts to fly above and lands on his shoulder, as he does have a familiar.
Yeah.
And he says, now, you can do one of two things. You can help me figure out what this is, or go help our new friend. And the owl's actually going to fly over to Proxima. As at the same time he's going to see what this conjuration thing is, but the owl's going to go over to Proxima and just kind of gets flutter there and just like, are you okay? But he's not saying anything, obviously. But
yeah, okay. And so as it's gotten over there, we're back to you, Proxima. You've just had, well, actually, hang on. Let's deal with this. Bucket, you've got these people in tow, and you've just reached where you can sense someone seated on the ground.
I'm gonna sit cross-legged in front of them, so Taika's right beside me, and I'm gonna like plop Gallagher right next to me, and I'm like, "Hi, you seem to be frustrated." I'm like looking right at them, even with the blindfold. I'm like, "I understand.
Hi, you must be new here. Do you need help? Question mark.
Oh, that was to me, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I was
Yeah, yes, you,
so
right
bad
there
at
in front of me.
picturing what's happening in my head. What I want to say is this would be completely different if Proxima had equipped any spells before tonight, but here we are. But in character, Proxima looks up at this like owl, like chilling, and these people, and she says, "It is not that I'm frustrated. It is that I do not know what to do when there are questions without answers and instructions without the goals."
So you're frustrated.
You know,
I suppose if I had the dictionary, maybe. It's fine. It's fine.
Understandable.
But-
Zen Master?
when I spent countless years drifting through the cosmos, being taught by my ghost about life and death, I learned sometimes that knowing is pain, ignorance is bliss, and blindfolds are useful.
Did you
not
say your
often.
ghost? Hold on.
Yeah, my ghost and I were best friends. He taught me kung fu.
So he's crazy? I didn't know that.
Would you like to meet him? He gives excellent fist bumps.
I mean, sure.
All right, I'm gonna spend a key point and summon my astral self arms.
Excellent.
As he does this, these arms that are like, they look like the constellation of the sky, except they are ripped. They are yokes, and they pop out hovering over his shoulders, and boom.
Wait, I have a question. I have blind sense, so I can like see stuff. Like, how do I see this? Like, I'm blind.
So these are like astrally projected, but they still deal. What is it? They deal like force damage and
Force
stuff, right?
damage,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
They're
you
very
can, like-
much visible.
Yeah. So you would see them, but I think with your blind sense, it's almost like you're getting the outline of this. Like, you can see them if they were like a sketch drawing in your mind, basically.
So it's like in those animations when they just like scribble something in to shade it.
Yeah. It's like, that's what I'll say with your blind sight here. It's like, because you can sense them there, and you know, like, someone's standing here, someone's sitting there, there's a bird like thing here, plus the noise you're able to piece together. Blind sight is you using all your senses together to put something, and like, you can just like sense this, like,
I can
thing.
hear the muscle tendons just tightening.
Yeah, you can sense this thing right above this guy.
I'm like, wow, he was not kidding.
I give myself a fist bump, and then I use the astral self arm to just like rub Bucket's hair, and I'm like,
I have a hat on. I have like a tricorn hat on. So.
Oh, to rub the tricorn hat around. I just go,
Pleasant. Appreciate it.
I turn to Proxima. I go. You know, I had a lot of answers when I died. I had a lot of questions when I died. I had 0 answers about what was going to happen to me. Sometimes I
Well-
think it's just nice to know something's going to happen now.
Well-
Answers are painful.
Well, we know we have one question. We are to find it, whatever it may be. Maybe we can work together to find whatever this thing is.
That's the spirit. And can I give you? I offer up my arm for a fist bump.
Proxima
wouldn't be
fist
able to
bumps
see.
back, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah. As you fist bump, I cast guidance.
Oh, I forgot I have a cat.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay.
Proxima fist bumps back like too hard, like just a little too hard, just a little.
It's like
There's a little. It was
smashes
a little.
into that.
Just a little overeager. Just a little overeager.
So, Doc, you hear these folks talking behind you now, and you've got this tech magic going on. What are you doing?
While Galileo, who's the owl, was over there just hooting, he is looking down at, visualizing. There's the conjuration magic. He's gonna see what that is, try to figure it out.
Cool. So at this point, Yeah, you're trying to sense it, and you're sensing that conjuration magic, and it feels like it's getting less and less as time goes on. And you are here in this room, and suddenly from where you're standing, you're sensing, and you're blind right now, but you're sensing the magic in the room, and the conjuration magic leaves. You no longer sense it. And it is now, you don't sense anything for a second. And then an overwhelming, almost blinding, the fact that you can sense anything, the sensory effect is blinding to you. And with your character Taika as well, you still have this detect magic on, and everything in you is almost begging your mind to shut it off because of how bright this is right now. And someone says, well, it looks like this'll be it then. And Proxima, the only one without a blindfold, is able to look up. And in this moment, Proxima, the other contestants or participants or whatever they are gone. Your vision was blocked by these people who came over to you huddled in the corner and a owl. And now that you actually re-look back at the room, there is Doc, there are these three people, and this owl and this cat, which would be with our dear Bucket, and another person in the room on the other side who is standing there and says, well, it looks like this'll be it then. What does anyone do?
I'm gonna take off my blindfold and I'm gonna turn around and like, it is? That was very swift.
Okay, and as you turn around, and Proxima, what are you doing?
I think Proxima stands up. Also very important. Proxima will die for this owl. Just 100%. Like, it's already, this is canon. It doesn't matter. There's a bird. Proxima is 100% invested now. It's fine. But I think Proxima is going to slowly stand up, but doesn't move. Like, just stands and kind of like stands.
Okay.
Stands. She doesn't move.
Taika, this blinding light of detect magic coming from behind you.
Yeah, Taika grabs the blindfold, rips it off. Yeah, I guess chalk went up for the good guys, huh? We did it. Nailed it. First try, right?
And does he turn around?
Oh, yeah. He turns around and says, like, good job. Hey, you're new. You do make a good backpack, though. I like that. We're going to get you standing on 2 feet here eventually. Bucket, great job.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Would love to.
Oh no, fear.
Oh, it's unnatural 20.
Excellent. You feel a pit in your stomach and you drop to a knee, but you do not pass out.
Ooh.
Gallagher,
yeah?
what do you do?
I'm gonna keep my blindfold on. I'm gonna say, so did we find it? Also, I'm guessing these blindfolds are not to hinder our sight, but for our protection. Is that what I'm gathering from the sounds of anguish and pain around me?
Oh, no, I suppose that's simply because the spells they're currently active. The blindfolds were quite necessary for the test you were undergoing. And you hear this voice now speaking. And what do you do, Doc? And again, you also have that very blinding sense, but your blindfold is still on.
Depending on how used to he is to this, and the situation, he will probably slowly take off his blindfold. But actually, he doesn't move his hands. You can see a spectral hand take off his blindfold with mage hand.
Cool.
Excellent.
And you just, that was unpleasant.
And you are,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
you are washed over with a wave and a pit in your stomach. Make a Constitution saving throw as well.
Not gonna spell. Not gonna make that one. I'm gonna use D&D Beyond to be fair. I'm always fair, but I'm
Hooray.
17.
Okay, so yeah, you feel a wash over you, and you take a knee, and you don't pass out, but you sort of black out for a split second, and it almost feels like you leave your body for a moment, and you catch yourself.
That's never pleasant.
I
Oh.
apologize for that. It might be best if you were to lower your spells. They're not quite equipped for the conversation.
Yeah, and the time on his leg will slowly fade. Go back to its black gray stance as he not only stops detect magic, but he'll also the mage hand will like wave, and you'll see Galileo just shoop.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And as you do, you feel a sensation wash over you as you kind of get a relief. You're no longer staring at a sun and sort of vibe. And you also can sense like your access to magic has been unaffected. In quantitative terms, you have not spent a spell slot. You literally are still fully juiced and energized from wherever your power source comes from. And
to be fair, it was a ritual, so he didn't lose a spell slot anyway.
oh yeah, true. So excellent. And
Valid.
lastly, with Taika having that wave of energy there, are you still holding on to detect magic?
Yeah, I think Taika would steadfastly leave up detect magic.
Cool. And so it is very hard, very difficult to process what you are looking at. And the person says, well, I give you points for style. And that's important. That will be very important. So perhaps I can make this a bit easier on you. And you see them shift a bit, and they change, and a cloak comes over their shoulders. And as they place the hood up, you can still quite see their face, but everything about them has dampened. And you are looking at a magnificent black robe with tiny white speckles all over it that looks like you're staring into the vastness of space. It's almost like it's pulling you in. And you can now, while still a bit heavier in the air, look at this person. And you can see underneath their cloak the same style of clothing that you see amongst the members of Gravvicon. And to the members who have been here longer, the year, a couple of months, and to our dear Doc, who's been here for 20 years, you recognize a symbol that stands for Gravvicon Order. You see it on several of the members who are here at the castle. The three of you, please make an insight check.
While they're doing that, Gallagher will once again ask if he can remove his blindfold. He's not been given an answer.
Yes, you fool, and rip it off him.
Yeah, and they'll say, oh, you are more than welcome to.
Can I actually have that blindfold back? It might be useful later.
Kinky bastard.
And what are these insights?
I got a 14.
16 for Taika.
Natural 20.
Let's go.
Or 20, 25.
So the rest of you recognize it was a posture check. You recognize it as a symbol of Gravvicon, the Gravvicon Order, and you've seen that symbol around. You don't see people wearing it, but you've seen it around. Doc, you have never met one, but this is the absolute moment you've perhaps been waiting for, as you recognize the symbol of a crown.
They don't show their face for nobody. So,
and that's where we end today.
Oh man!
Crispy!
Your Majesty.
As you're still ritual casting detect magic.
Oh, yeah.
Hi.
Oh, yeah. No.
And
can
yeah,
handle
so
it.
that's a good little stretch there for our character feels, our vibes. I got to see a little bit about each of you, how you're going to interact, and I think you got to play a little bit with each other well. Yeah, how are you guys feeling?
I feel like I need to pick out some fucking spells.
That was
Yeah, I also came into this with a incomplete spell book.
Oh, see, that's my issue. When someone asks me to play a game, I've already made the character.
Yeah.
I just need you to confirm that I'm playing. No, I mean, I was like, I got all this. So, yeah.
Yes.
I was very happy with Gallagher so far. I can't wait to play more.
He
of
is
him.
the back.
What is very funny about this is that Eric is literally sitting here next to me playing Red Dead Redemption, and so you started explaining your character. I was like, "Oh, he seems like a cowboy," and then like that, and I was like, "Cool.
That's excellent.
Also, I totally I had a feeling I knew it was Galileo. I didn't know about Gallagher, and I was like, oh shit, yep. That's gonna be fun.
Galileo, Gallagher,
Yeah.
the G team.
G team.
I'm so excited about this owl. I don't care about anything else. It's fine.
It's an owl and a cat.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
We got Plague and Galileo. It's gonna be great.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Wait, is
because Danny's got
Galileo
familiar as well.
familiar? Like, what is Galileo?
Yeah, familiar.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Plague also familiar. So.
Cool.
Nice.
You have the cat and the owl, and it's gonna be great.
Exactly.
They're gonna be fighting, and then Galileo and Plague, I guess, in the back judging.
That's right. It's like, what the fuck? Like, look at that form. Garbage. It's just that's what it's gonna be.
He's just like, I'm too old for this shit.
Like,
I'm just
damn.
excited for the familiar like side stories, like the side arc. Like they're gonna go on
Yeah.
adventures together.
It's just gonna be gonna be CB and me just playing our familiars as like go trying to find fucking camembert cheese.
It's like,
So that gives us a great time
I'll make
for
an
me to
animal
talk
character.
about-
Like,
That talks a great moment for me to tell the crowd about some of the stuff that we've got coming. Some of the things that you should be prepared for is this was just a warm up. I'm so glad that we got to stretch the characters out. What you just saw is a canon moment, but it is exactly what we would have, where we're going to be starting. Having come in next week is this group has been assembled, and that is how we're going to dive in. And from there, it's going to be off to the races. But some of the things to know that we're going to be doing with this is a big thing is we're putting it out in podcast form. So not next Friday, but starting the Friday after the actual first episode, we're going to put them out as podcasts as well. So after you watch it live, or if you miss it, or if you wanted to be able to just listen to it again on the go, it'll be on Spotify and Apple, and we're going to try and crush some numbers and some records. One of the things that makes a podcast do well on Apple is kind of king when it comes to where podcasts thrive right now, Apple Podcasts. And one of the things that they look for and determine whether or not they get you out and about to public who hasn't seen you is called their new and noteworthy page. And to get on that, your podcast needs to get enough attention and positive reviews within the first 14 days that it's live on the app. So when we get this thing up, not next Friday, but a week after that, we're going to be looking to push and have as many people interact, listen to the episode, rate the episode, and then stick with us for this 12-week story, because that would be huge to us. But we're also going to be working on bonus content, and that'll be a thing that we'll set up starting next stream that we'll announce with a Patreon that you'll be able to get on board, and for like $2 for the month, you'll be able to get on some bonus content, which will be short stories or little bonus 20-minute episodes where we are just talking to Plague and Galileo and getting a little moment with them, or all these other little possible things that are just a quick little something, but it'll be important to the story or more depth into the character. And we'll be looking for fan art or people who are interested in doing things in regards to this, because we'd love to show some of that off and also just see some of it come to life. And we'll get to unveil the actual art of the characters that we're doing and have it up for you next stream.
I apologize in advance.
I'm
Yo,
super
100%
excited.
though, if someone draws fan art of Bucket carrying Gallagher like a backpack,
Do it.
Yes,
I will
please.
post that everywhere.
No, seriously, I'm not even kidding. Like literally, tag Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. I will put it everywhere. I'm not even TikTok. I will make a TikTok about it. I'm not even kidding. I will make a TikTok.
Same.
I played
Same.
D&D. This is my fan art that someone did of me carrying off the Outlaws character.
Say,
Here you
and
go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
next stream, we will have our official character art up on the overlay, so people know what the characters look like.
Look
It was
like,
not
yeah.
done.
So
It was not
exciting.
done for this stream, but it's going to be awesome, and I am so excited for it.
Yes, I'm stoked. I'm pushing us right up to our time limit here. We started a little late. I apologize for that, but it was great to end this today. I loved the energy we got. Folks, keep in mind, one of the things you can do is you can go type !Discord, and you can hop in the Lark Discord. It's 18+ Discord. We're going to have channels for every one of our shows, and we're going to create a channel just for the Gravvicon Order as well. So content there, shout outs of when episodes go on YouTube or on the podcast format will be there. You'll get notifications when we're live. I mean, you're also going to get it from any of these fine folks who are in it, but feel free to hop in the Discord and join us. We talk D&D stuff all the time, as well as the other shows. If you're interested, make sure that you check out the rest of the Lark stuff. And tomorrow morning is our 1-year recap. So we're actually doing a 90-minute recap in the morning of the past 26 episodes to get you caught up on all the juicy little things. And then we're going to live record the very next episode right at the tail end of that. And so you'll already catch some beautiful stuff tied into this. So without further ado, we are gonna wrap things up. Players, anything we need to shout out or let them know about? No? Okay. Well, make sure you follow all these wonderful folks.
If I could quickly shout out one thing. If you would, I really want to shout out my YouTube channel again. If you would like to see Gallagher's projection to know where he will go, please check out my YouTube page. I make power builds. I've power built Gallagher. It would mean a lot to me if you supported the video. I know some of you are already from there, but watch it again.
Watch it again.
That would be all.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. It's been an absolute pleasure. And remember, keep rolling.